Make it happen.
Making it happen. Here we are. We're back. Somehow we're all here. This is amazing. This is HF Pod. If you're listening, you won't know yet, but I'm RJ. You might know that, but you might also know that I'm here with everyone except Brad, Jonathan, Megan, Brian. What's up?
I have a chair if you want me to pull it over for Brad.
I have a
think
poop
he's just
he can sit on.
I think he's officially a special guest. You know, just for like
Have you
the clip
taken him up with
shows
that?
and I guess we need to discuss. But what we're really discussing, guys, is 3 nights of fish at Bethel. We are going to be doing this today, and then we will bring you a Monster Mondegreen report sometime early next week because Megan's going to bring us her first-person accounts of the festival, and the rest of us will bring our second-person accounts of the festival.
Yeah.
Sound
I'll be
about right?
bringing
Megan?
Ironically, I thought you said Amanda Green there for a second. I was like, who?
She's our on the field
She is
reporter.
She's a big fish fan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So Megan, first of all, how's the prep going? How are we feeling about Mondegreen?
I'm not prepared at all. I don't know how to prepare. I'm not prepared at all. So I feel really misled about this. Everyone for months has been telling me that Delaware in August is like the pit of hell and it's going to be 1,000 degrees and it's going to be so humid and you can't wear any clothes and you're going to be so fucking hot. And so all my outfits are planned for that weather. And then the weather is like high of 60 or high of 80, low 60. That's better, obviously, but it's
the humidity.
It is. So I'm going to be warm.
I think so. I mean, I lived in that part of the country for a while. Jonathan lives in that part of the country. Like, I feel like once you get down south of New Jersey, it's just the south. And so whatever the temp is, it's add dew point times 100.
Okay, this makes me feel better. Tell me, Jonathan.
I have forecast info from our good friend, Justin Bruce. He just posted this out there on the Mastodons for people who like social media. Mid 80s in the afternoon with dew points in the 60s. That means very humid. So yes, not like oven scorching hot, but very humid. So prepare to sweat and have it stay with you.
So I don't need to bring some warm clothing for the evening. That's not going to happen, right?
70s in the evenings. Some 30% chances of pop-up showers and storms Saturday and Sunday, which is pretty typical here in the mid-Atlantic. 100% chance, he says, of fish awesomeness given this summer tour.
Hell yeah. I'm on board for that. You know what, though? I'm just going
if a weatherman's predicting fish awesomeness.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. Yeah. I'm just, I don't know. I'm just on board. I'm not camping, so I feel like it's okay. I bought some groceries today for my hotel room. I'm super excited. I'm sure everything will work out with my outfits and it will be fine.
It'll be great.
If there's one thing, I mean, I honestly have no idea what's going to happen at Mondegreen, but I can tell you that Megan's outfits are going to be amazing. That's like the only thing I know for sure.
It's a lock.
That's so much pressure, RJ.
It's a lock.
Fuck. Okay. Okay.
See,
this is like a lot.
So we are going to we're going to have my friend Scott Chasolen, who is the keyboard player extraordinaire from Reprise and The Machine. He's going to join us toward the end of the hour to talk a little bit about some upcoming Reprise shows and some music he's making. So when you hear or see a new person show up, that is the story there. I think I said he was going to join last week, but he is. I think he's sound checking right now for a show, and then he's going to join when he's done. So it seems a little complicated.
Life gets like
great. Yeah,
it does.
You can jump on.
But first, okay, guys. So we're coming off of this 3-night run at Bethel, and I have a lot of thoughts, but I want to know. Actually, let's just get straight into it because I think it's the only way we can do this in a way that makes sense. I didn't get to stream anything. I just listened after and left. I was driving 7 hours today. I listened to nights 2 and 3 today in the car, which was fun. But you guys probably had a little bit more time to process it. Brian, tell us about night 1 and what you thought, maybe a couple highlights, and then we can kind of just do a little roundtable action.
Night 1 was up to par with this tour in the sense that I thought it was a pretty near perfect show. I think the second set is flawless, really creative playing, adventurous stuff. Some of the kind of bluesy, sunny playing that we heard Trey with Billy Strings kind of carried over into parts of the tweezer, but a lot of it started to get distorted and weird again. It was very cool in that sort of standpoint. You had kind of surprise jams and no men's, my friend. You had this random awesome 2001 thrown late into the first set there. Encore felt a little bonus. Like, I thought this was one of those shows. I have it listed on my overall note under minor quibbles. Like a few moments there here and there that I would be like, I would have done something different if I was the guy up on stage.
Go start a band.
Okay, but either way, I really enjoyed streaming this. I really enjoyed listening back. A lot of huge musical moments to take away from it all. Really, really pleased. Bethel has been a high quality fish stop for the last 11, 12 years at this point in time. And this lived up to that. Killer stuff.
Yeah. I just want to say that it was really, to me, the most exciting thing about Fish, right? And I think I said this last time they jammed out My Friend, is just like seeing these songs that you don't usually expect to go long. And it was really cool that Trey right after was just said he said, like, what the hell was that? And that was weird. Yeah. And that's just it's so cool that they are in this space where it seemed like he was truly like, oh shit, that was crazy. Exactly what we were thinking. So that's pretty fun.
That was so like Trey dorky. He was like, whoa, what was that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
Hey, everybody.
Pretty awesome.
So cute.
I like that he was as surprised as we were.
Yeah. I mean, Jonathan, this whole like the tweezer with like some little bluesy and a little bluegrass feel. We got like a little bit of, was that some Billy Strings like vibes that had been left over?
Definitely leaning back towards that almondsy stuff that he was doing with Billy. It was there. It was definitely, I don't know, definitely is probably a little, it certainly felt similar, like he was drawing on, the previous shows. And I'll take it. Tie that thing together because it was awesome and a nice change. So it makes it a more unique tweezer to whatever else they might have done prior to that. And again, just briefly to echo what Brian is saying, some good jams where you aren't expecting them. The Piper really goes hard. The Pillow Jets is awesome, and the My Friend jam, wow, like. Really cool stuff. I was raging this in my hotel on Saturday morning and just like bouncing off the walls.
Yeah, I agree. I would just echo what you guys are saying. Just a great first set, like mostly old school songs, really good energy. The No Men to me, nothing kind of too new in that jam, but just really nice to see them stretch out like early in a show. They've been doing that a lot in like the second or third slot, just like pushing a little bit far and getting like 9, 10, 11 minutes. And I think that's a really good kind of like omen and kind of foreshadowing for the rest of the show. And this is the longest my friend ever, 17 minutes of Alpine. And now this one, like pushing it to 18. Like, it's just so great to see them doing that. And this is definitely one of my favorite jams of the weekend. It has so many cool sections. And Mike, I just can't stop saying this, but Mike sounds so good on this tour. Vance, the mix is perfect, but he is really stepping up, like playing so much kind of melody and working with Trey. And it was really cool to hear them. Like, I think this is definitely Billy Strings' influence in End of This. It's so kind of bluegrassy Americana. And I love how it winds down and kind of stop starts at the end. And it's a really, really, really special jam. And then this tweezer is great. But my other highlight from the show is the Pillow Jets tweezer Piper. What a awesome fucking jam. Just like really using the effect pedal well, like in Pillow Jets, like really growly, tons of layers of sound, really driving. Fishman's just pushing it. You get into this like demented, droning rock riff. It's just that whole section from tweezer all the way down through Piper is unbelievable. And then just a perfect little landing in Shine a Light. And then at the end of the set, you think, okay, just chalk dust. It's just going to like close it out. And then it jams, like it jams. That's kind of my theme from like this whole run, is that so many jams, just like some are minor, micro, we would say here, some are macro,
Definitely.
but they're all really good. It's exciting.
Yeah, loved the darkness that we got in that. In spite of the almondsy stuff that we're hearing elsewhere,
Yeah.
they're still bringing darkness in the same show, and then Landon to shine a light just to brighten it
Yeah.
back up for us.
I
Rad.
think that's something that I think is really cool about this run. I noticed especially is just the diversity of jamming. You are getting that like Billy Strings, bluegrassy kind of like positive, jamming, but then also they're really getting dark like they did in Pillow Jets and other examples we'll talk about.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I don't know, Brian. You might have other things that I really love how celebratory the Chalk Dust was at the end. You kind of like I
Yeah.
was like sort of expecting it
Yeah.
when I was listening to be a little bit more like a split open and melt or something, and kind of like, but it was just man, they're just having so much fun. It was a really awesome way to end a show, and that second set is also pretty much perfect. Like there's not even really like a moment of like pause or I mean shine a
No.
light, but that like. What a great landing spot.
Shine a Light's got a nice little slow beginning, but it just builds to a great big peak too.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
And that's your like moment of soul. You had like that's such a like you get to like clutch your chest and like feel that like, Rolling Stones fucking soul in there. It's so good.
First one since Dix of last year, so 37
Wow.
shows. So it's a song that you hear every so often now, always hits. You guys were talking about like kind of the Billy Strings, the Allman Brothers takeover. One just additional thought I had just about this show, like the Tweezer and the Pillow Jets specifically. They did this thing that you heard in like the Moment Dance and the Everything's Right with Billy, where Billy and Trey would kind of get to these like spiral, not really a duel, more just like aligning around a melody and then just kind of twisting it into this weird
Yeah.
zone. And you heard Trey and Mike do that a lot during, especially the
Yeah.
last part of the Pillow Jets. That was, I mean, Pillow Jets is kind of in the same place for me right now with Life Saving Gun, where every time they play it, they get to the zone that I love. And I just, I want to hear it get to that like kind of 20-minute mark where you really hear the jam just really build and just hear what else is there. And this was the first one, aside from maybe Sphere version, where it felt like right when they were going to go back into the Pillow Jets coda, they just took it into another jam segment, and that's where Mike and Trey just aligned. The lights started spinning in really weird ways. It got really dark and psychedelic, and from there you go back into Tweezer and a Piper, as you were saying, Meg, like a Piper with a big jam. We've gotten that a couple times so far this tour. Just a ton of moments where perhaps a cool down could have been used, perhaps in other tours a cool down would happen, and instead the band just like doubles down on a sound. And it seems like they might have found something new in the Billy jamming that is lending itself to Mike playing so well this tour.
It's funny, you talk about that thing that he and Mike are doing. That's kind of like what Garcia and Phil would do on Dark Star back in the day. Doesn't sound
Oh,
like Dark
yeah.
Star before anybody get out their guns, but it is, listening, comping that same theme. Then like Trey would play a theme, Mike would play it, or Paige would play it. Paige is doing it too, and then Trey would play a variation on that theme, and they would just kind of follow each other through these variations, and just very fun. I was enjoying that in the second night, listening to that in the car yesterday. So we'll get to more of that night two.
Yeah.
Lots of
Pillow
hey
Jets
hole
is like
jamming.
Yes.
Yeah, Pillow Jets is like primed for a big, big takeoff. It was like 13 this time, 15 in Vegas, 10, 11 the two times before that on the jam chart. So it's definitely like it's pushing out there.
Yeah.
Can't complain about what they're doing with it so far.
Oh, it
I can't
sounds
wait for that
sick.
big one that you're talking
I
about
know.
too, because wow.
Yeah. Seriously. It's okay, so let's talk about night two because you look at the set list, or at least I did, when I went to listen to it, and I was like, wow, that's like a lot of songs, not a lot of huge peaks, but I thought it was really fun to listen to. And I think these sets, like the longer or the more songy first sets, it's just about like the energy and keeping things moving. And despite like looking at it and seeing like, oh, a 13 song set, I thought it all really like flowed well, and it was really fun to listen to. And then that Cities toward the end was just nice groove that kind of extends it. But I thought I enjoyed the whole set. Anyone yeah, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that overall the show has less flow, especially in the first set. but then the other two, I think it's a little bit less successful as far as like set listing. But this Hey Stranger, I think stretches out, has so much like groovy jam potential. It gets into like a little bit of a funk jam, which is cool. And the energy from Dinner and a Movie was absolutely wild. And again, lots of old songs here, which is super fun. And yeah, the crescendo at the end in Cities is so great. And Trey sounds beautiful. It wasn't to me as great as the first set from night one, but enjoyable.
I think that's
yeah.
fair.
It was a Saturday night and kind of felt like that. And we talked about this following the first weekend, the Greatwood shows. We all kind of were in agreement that like the Saturday night show that weekend felt like a Saturday night show where it's kind of song here, song there, not insane amounts of flow, and yet at the same time, if this is the floor, it's a very high floor. Like I felt
Exactly.
similar to you, RJ. Like this was, we had this on, we had pizza in the house. My brother's back in town. We were doing like a family reunion type of thing. And it felt good to have a Fish show on that I didn't have to necessarily like zero in on and really focus on. Whereas then when the Cities started, you go back 10 years, that's a 4-minute Cities where the band is at right now. The second someone throws a weird little riff in there, they build up on that. And you get that for 13, 14 minutes. Set two, I think, set one, I think it is what it is. It's a set one on a Saturday night, and there's some good songs played. There's a cool bust out played. There's a good jam. Set two felt a little herky jerky, a little bit like, just jump from one thing to another. That said, I had this thought that nobody come at me, but if you think back to like late 1.0 and 2.0, there were a lot of shows that were kind of a mess, but you'd say you got to hear that Disease, or you have to hear that Twist, or man, that shocked us. You've got to hear it. And in this show, that's the Kill Devil Falls. That is one of the strongest jams, I think, of the overall tour. That is like, for a band that is, for Trey saying, hey, let's play this song. Okay, let's go to this song. Okay, let's go to this song. And kind of feels a bit jukeboxy to then have them fall into something like that, Kill Devil Falls. And that's just endless. John Fishman is stunning throughout that. I mean, that's my highlight from the overall show. And it reminded me of those kind of late 1.0, early 2.0 or 2.0 shows where it would be a bit of a mess, but there'd be this one highlight that everybody has to hear and go back to.
Yeah, I wouldn't use the word mess on this show, but go ahead. I thought the first set was a lot of fun. Listened to it in the car coming back from New York, and I just rocking. Flow it certainly wasn't the same as first night. I'll give you that. But it's a hour and a half set. There's a lot of stuff that happens. I was a little surprised that the sand was under 10 minutes because I felt like it ripped. Didn't go deep type 2 or anything, but I felt like it ripped. And the Cities, of course, is great. Everything is played really well, to be honest. But I did want them to just maybe eliminate 5 of those songs and play a 30-minute Bowie instead. I'm kidding.
Well, there you go.
And I 100% agree that this Kill Devil Falls is the best jam of the night and might be my favorite jam of the weekend because it's just so good. And I was shocked at how short it was because, again, I'm driving, so I'm not looking at timings or anything. I'm just letting her rip. And wow, it really goes some places and it really satisfies. And I think there was, when it ended, like a moment where I was like, oh man, I could have just kept doing that for another hour. But then they go into Beneath the Sea of Stars. It's like perfect. And I really enjoyed that contrast and ride out for the end.
I was thinking about about the Kill Devil Falls because we spend a lot of time, or at least I spend a lot of energy and time trying to like explain Fish's music. And yeah, the fact that was only 17 minutes is crazy. But to me, like we use the term exploratory a lot, but I feel like this jam like captures that idea so well because it's like when you're listening to it, you really have no idea where it's going. And I don't think that they did either. And it's just to go on that journey with them to like see where it goes, and that you can't, a lot of jams are different, but this to me felt truly like I was like, this is like a really fun journey where it felt like we were figuring it out along with the band in real time as you're listening, which I think is a pretty special thing.
Yeah, like something's happening. Like what?
Yeah.
I'm driving, just wondering what the hell is happening and what is next.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
one of
that's
my
great.
notes was kind of similar to what you had, Brian, in that I just feel like we're very lucky to have John Fishman in our band because this jam is just, oh my God. And it starts off with that kind of interplay between Trey and Paige that has been so prominent on this tour. RJ, you wrote
Yeah.
about this really well in your jam-based recap. And it's cool to hear them talk to each other and then also start distorting the melody with sounds and effects so well. And Mike has just came in so strong in this jam too, just making it so kind of gooey and dense. And then at 9 minutes, it like opens up and has this swelling feeling to it and goes totally off the rails. And just how they're playing with the KDF riff at the end too, and like descending. It's just, this is a really, really special jam. I've listened to it a few times and I feel like I still need time to process it. I feel that way about a lot of these jams. For just 3 days, there's a shit ton of jams packed in here.
One thing I just want to zero in on is just Kill Devil Falls as a song and where it's at kind of in its point in history right now. Cause it really, it feels like from a song standpoint and from the structural standpoint, it like was written almost to serve the purpose of a modern day chalk dust torture. And it's really wild how it's like condensed the evolution of chalk dust torture, where you throw on any show from the early to mid 90s and chalk dust torture is 7 minutes. It's the opener. It's the set closer. It is the high octane encore, and Kill Devil Falls basically served that role from 2009 to somewhere in 2012. And then you started to get some versions, and I won't quote all the dates, but what I will say is up until the end of 2019, you got scattered versions. Obviously, the Atlanta version is the one that we all remember from 2015. But since Halloween 2021, we've gotten that, Orange Beach 22, Philly 22, Clarkson, Michigan 22, Dix 22, New Year's Eve 22, Berkeley 23, Syracuse 23, Mexico 24, and then the version from Mohegan, and then this version that are not
Crazy.
just like hinting at jams. A lot of these like Dix 2022, Berkeley 23, Syracuse, the Mohegan version, this version, these are full on jams. These are 15+ minute long versions. And when they get to the end of Kill Devil Falls, it sounds to me the way Chalk Dust does, where there's no hint of the Kill Devil Falls solo. There's no hint of let's just build to a, like arena rock peak and have that be what says, everything about this song. They just they modulate and they dive into a jam. And like you guys are saying, from an exploratory standpoint, you have no idea where it's going, but every decision they make, it feels like the right decision. It's just wild. Like, I just want to appreciate where this song is at this point in its history, because the song definitely got some hate early on because it was played all the time.
Yeah.
And it served a very specific purpose, but now it's clearly one of the best songs that they have in their arsenal. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, people got the hate because it was just doing that thing that you described that it was meant to do when it started. And people were like, well, we already have Chalk Dust. We don't need this. And, whatever, and, well, I hope they're all having a good time now.
Well,
now when it starts, you get excited. You're like,
yeah,
Kill Devil Falls. All right.
But it's definitely the most jarring beginning to a song that you could like come up with,
What about Numberline?
Well, I think that's just that's just like a beautiful hug.
It's a beautiful song, but I don't know about that intro.
I just feel, especially when like there's a ripcord into it.
Yeah. There was definitely something about intros in the Joy era. You guys, there's a point here of because Kill Devil Falls, it definitely sounds like it grates your ears. He's never figured out like a way to like match fat tone with that riff. So it's grating. And it sounds like some song has been ripcorded into ba ba.
It's like the opposite of it's like an inverted ripcord. I don't know what you'd call it.
Right.
What even would that be?
Yeah.
Like all the chords spilled out on the floor.
I want to make one note about this show, just because I've been watching this with this tour, and I agree with all of you that like this tour is pretty amazing. And Brian Brian made the point on our last episode that if we had done the top 25 tours with this included, this would end up on the top 25, which I totally agree with. But I just think it's funny.
We can go and say where we think it would be at the end after, maybe.
Right
in
after
our wrap up. Mm-hmm.
I just think I think it's funny when you see a show like Saturday where you have the like you get like a 6-minute waves and a 6-minute ghost, like in the mix of a second set here.
Yeah.
And I don't, but I don't mean it as a like I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I just think it's like the trade-off for finding the Kill Devil Falls and the AC/DC bags. Like they have to try it, but then you get like hearing that ghost in the context of the second set was just sort of funny because it's just like,
yeah,
we'll just do like the verses and chorus and then that's the end.
It's like Simple from last night too.
I was
Like,
gonna
wait,
get
what?
there. Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Exactly.
My favorite Simple in many, many years, honestly.
Oh my god!
I was like, that's the shortest version of Simple maybe ever. I wish we could figure out.
It's the single version. It should be on a 45.
But I don't think you can. When any song can go 15 minutes or more, like every song could also be 4 minutes. You never know. So I just think it's a funny trend. I don't remember. Besides Twist and Piper, really, I can't remember a lot of other songs that would consistently be potentially long, but like almost always short. And now it feels like a lot of songs are kind of like could be 15 minutes or could be 6 minutes.
Could go either way. Did anybody talk about the Down with Disease yet? Because it's got a good jam in it, but it's really confusing how long it may or may not be because they've really fucked up the live fish tracking there. Thank you.
Really fucked it up.
That's still Wilson. But anyways, there is a good jam on that Down with Disease too.
It's a good jam. You're absolutely right. And it is a butter segue into waves. Like there is zero thought, zero pause. It is just boo, boo, boo. And you thought at the moment, okay, with how they're playing, we're going to get a waves jam after this. And it didn't turn out that way, which happens. What you're saying, RJ, kind of makes me think about a couple big themes that I've had. I was kicking around in my head just coming off of this. One of which is less work now, the reward is the show. Like you think about a tour of the band kind of working their way up and figuring things out and figuring things that work. And we've talked a lot over the last year and a half over how these like short little tours and kind of big events like MSG last year, Mondegreen this year, Mexico Sphere seem to be giving Fish this rare opportunity where they're not overplaying to the point that they're exhausted, but they're playing enough to the point that they don't really need an on-ramp to get ready for a tour. Whereas in years past, you'd kind of need like 2 or 3 shows. Okay, I'll see them on weekend 2. I'm definitely not going to the tour opener, but like I'll see them, at this point in time. And you really don't have that here. Like Great Woods was killer. Mohegan, that first night was really sick. Alpine had that great Simple, yada, yada, yada. My point is like, it feels as though they've tested out a lot of things, thinking about that Simple, that Tweezer, and they've landed to a point where, yes, anything really feels like it could be jammed out because what it seems like is one band member throws out a riff, and if everyone's on board, they go, and that turns into the Kill Devil Falls, or that turns into AC/DC bag. So I'd be curious your guys' thoughts. Like, it doesn't feel to me like they're really working right now in the sense that I felt like I heard a week or 2 earlier.
They're playing.
Yeah, they sound really in the zone to me. Really in the zone. They also sound like they're having a lot of fun, and that was one of my themes. I think they just seem really happy up there and playful and excited to be there. And I think that their freedom in set listing is, we talked about this last week. It's working really well at times and it's a little bit less successful at others. But I do think that's giving them a looseness that's allowing them to kind of like drop into the zone faster and easier. And they're just so good at connecting and improv right now. It's wild.
Brian Weinstein, host of Attendance Bias, says here, prepping for the Sphere and tracking new album probably has a lot to do with it. They've been playing together a lot more in the first half of the year compared to previous years. I think that can go for last year and even 2022. RJ, what are your thoughts?
Tracked last year, we should add. So that was done last fall. But it all runs together, calendar dates and New Year's are just artificial lines with concerts on them. So
I'm looking at just looking at the earlier shows of the tour. I hadn't actually thought about it in the way that Brian obviously thinks about it in the context already of history of the past 3 weeks. I think it's more
so exhausting being in this head, RJ. I'm sorry.
I think Grand Rapids was like a little bit of a different thing because of the Billy Strings Almost Fish experience, but I think like I'm enjoying, like I'm having more fun listening to these shows than I was listening to the shows at the beginning of the tour. And I think maybe it's just because it feels like they're having more fun. Like it does feel a little bit looser, but also there's so much happening in these like 10 or, like you were saying about the sand, Jonathan, like even like that 9-minute sand was like, there's a lot happening and so much, it's fun to listen to because I think as a listener, you're like consistently challenged to like try to figure out what's going on because there's so much happening so quickly.
Can I say something about Grand Rapids? As I
Yes.
wasn't here on Friday, and I did listen to everything you guys said, and
I neglected to play Jonathan's voicemail. So please,
that's fine.
please.
I don't take any
So
issue.
can't get mad if we don't even play Jonathan's. We're really can't be counted on.
Yeah, exactly. They're very unreliable people, but we love them anyways. I'm kidding. I don't take issue with anything you guys said last week. So what I want to say is kind of actually more off what you just said, RJ, which is the fun that they're having. Grand Rapids is a perfect example of that. Whatever audience members feel they should have or didn't have or whatever, how you feel about those shows, the band were having a blast, and I think they've been having a good time for this whole tour. Trey's tweaked up his rig a little bit. They've retuned those Mesa Boogie amps. Had a good read on that somewhere not too long ago in the past week, and he's redialed up his rig in a way that he's enjoying. Mike has been tweaking his space. I guess now he has like a Minkin thing behind him instead of the boxes he had behind him. Like they're playing with their stage setup, they're playing with their sound, and they're playing with their music and just having a good time. And like listening to Trey, like something you almost never hear when they're playing, listening to Trey, like as Billy plays an idea and Trey goes, yeah, like you don't really hear him do that. You'll hear Fishman interject all the time because he's got, interjections. But like Trey just doesn't often do that. But it's just overflowing. He clearly couldn't contain himself there. And I think it's continuing here. Not just in the fact that we're hearing some of those musical tones from those jams, but just, it's just the fun continues. And I can't imagine they've got to be so stoked. Plus they'll be a little bit rested going into next weekend. And we still have one more show to talk about.
Oh my God. Before we do that, though, we have to take a quick break. And to lead us into this break, I would like to play one voicemail that is not meant to be a criticism of any of us, but is meant to be a clarification of how you, as our listeners, can support the show. I appreciated this. This one. So hold on 1 second. Sorry, I'm having a lot of fun over here. I spent the entire day in the car with my kids, so I'm just trying to like have some fun here. Tell me if this works, guys. Can you hear this?
No.
Okay. All right, you'll have to give me a second then.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to hear more about my day in the car with the kids?
Absolutely. I'm just impressed you're like able to form coherent thoughts, because that's a lot.
Well,
and
maybe
it's not been one day either. You've been like traveling with
road
them.
tripping, right?
It's been 8 days. It's been 8 days, and I will say that yesterday we spent 10 hours riding roller coasters, which was
at the best amusement park in the country.
Definitely, it was the best day of my daughter's life. She said, "So,
hell yeah, you nailed it."
My back hurts on your behalf.
I know. Okay, all right, we're gonna try this again. We're gonna go to a break, but first we're gonna play this voicemail from our friend. 1 second.
Hi, guys. This is Ross, listening from West Seattle. Long-time listener, first-time caller. pro tip, to review and rate the podcast, you have to click on the main podcast show, not the episode that you're on in the Apple Podcast app, but just click on the show and scroll to the bottom and then click on 5 stars. You got to tell everybody that. Otherwise, they'll think that Billy Strings is part of Fish. But I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that. But just I haven't seen the Billy Strings episode yet. And just cut this out because, yeah, that was sick. Y'all have a good one.
All right,
That's
make sure you go back
awesome.
and cut that part out, RJ.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely will. I'll do it in all my post-production work on this show. I'll definitely do that.
That's really helpful info, though. Thank you, Ross.
And
Yeah, thank
and like Ross said, please review us on Apple Podcasts. It helps people
Not
discover the
Apple
show.
Music
Not,
until we
No.
put out the HF Pod album where
God,
we
I thought I did so
Well,
do
you're
well.
vocal
on Apple
jams
Music. I can
of
tell
Fish
you where to
songs.
look. No, I'm just
Or should we
Vocal
do
jam.
vocal jams of Fish jams?
That's the one. That's the one. Vocal jams of Fish jams. That would actually
I'm
I'm just waiting for you guys to stop so that I can have one moment of silence to put the mid-roll in. Oh, and look at that. Look at that timing. Hey, buddy. All right, guys, let's talk about Sunday. Another long first set with a lot of songs, but maybe some more like serious jams in there. At least I thought. I want to just say, in just continuing my record of unpopular opinions, I'm just like, I don't really care about bust outs. I really don't. Whether when I'm there, when I'm listening, like, I mean, I think it's cool. I think it's fine. But I think there are people who are like Brian, who
Yeah.
are like, I'm going to mark this down in my book. I get to like do the 800, the 801, 798, whatever it is.
Oh my God.
But I think it's
Still
cool.
wrong.
Like, but like Ficus, like I remember I saw that song a bunch in the early days, and of it being a song. But then they stopped playing it, and that was fun. But now they play it again. So Brian, how exciting was that for you as a fan?
Very exciting. I'm very into bust outs. There are levels of bust outs. There are certain bust outs where you're like, oh, that was 175 shows. Okay. I texted good buddies, good friends of the pod, Josh Carver and Dave Goldstein. Oh my God, first Ficus in 800 shows. And Dave Goldstein responded in the most deadpan, whoopee, which basically would be in line with how you took it, RJ.
That's amazing.
I mean, Ficus, I don't think is anyone's favorite Fish song,
You
but I
can
do
text
think it
me
is.
those things, and I will get excited
Yeah,
with you.
exactly.
Because I sent a text like that to someone, and I got a thumbs up.
Ooh,
like,
yeah.
what? Just a thumb. 800 shows. Do you know that
It's a
that was
big deal.
1998?
It's a big deal.
And it's a
OMG.
song that like it's one of those like if Fish ever was like a B-sides band, this is like the H side. Like this is like as rare obscure of a Fish song as there possibly is. I guess it was released on an album, but like it's been played
that
so
obscure.
few, but like it's been
on their
played so
best
few
album.
times, and like that is we're gonna have to
It's a
do an
different
episode about that.
I don't even know if I believe that. So
Not even sure you can
I
stand behind
just
that
said it.
statement.
but it's people like that record.
Can we get a
in the part.
Chiron? I don't even know if I believe that going across the screen here.
I'm going to just change my name to that.
I mean, I think that it is one of the more interesting. No, I shouldn't say more interesting. I think it's a very interesting Mike Gordon from the deep recesses of his brain songs. I think it's got a really cool groove. I'm not ashamed to admit it that the first 2 notes on the bass I heard, I went, "Oh my God, is this Ficus?" And my brother said, "How long has it been?" And I looked it up because I had no idea. 800 shows, which then turned to 799 shows, and then turned to 801 shows. I don't know what to make of the .NET thing, but my dad asked my brother, "Would you be as excited as your brother is right now if you saw Ficus?" And my brother said, "Oh, I would have no idea what this is." So in our ongoing competition of who is the bigger Fish fan. No. I thought this was like, it's funny because one of my themes here was the question now is what songs are left to be busted out. Like
Yeah.
we are in a place with this tour where they are just digging up a
Minkin.
lot of songs. Minkin would be very, very nice. Melt the Guns would be very, very nice.
Ain't Love
Now
Funny.
that would be exciting.
Yeah.
Ain't Love Funny, my God.
That's what I
That
want
would
to
be
hear.
exciting. Okay,
That's
maybe it's
what I
more
wanna
about the
hear.
song then.
I think it
It
is
might
about
be
song.
about
I think to your,
But I like the
larger
song.
question, it's the song. And yeah, I
Here
like
we go.
Ficus. It's 2 minutes. If you don't like that weirdness, man, it's like 10 minutes shorter than my soul. So, it is.
And like I don't like Mike Gordon songs. I think I'm pretty much on the record for that. And I like Ficus. I think it's kind of cool. It's like kind of mellow and vibey. I think it's cool.
Ficus
And
is
It's got a good vibe.
It's
Yeah,
a
and it's
jam that they put words to. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why it's
Mhm.
so
Yeah,
good. It's
That's
that's
a
not
good-
like
that's a good
Mike
point.
came in
really
and said,
true.
"I've got this song. It's got 14 different parts: an A part, a B part, a D part, a C part, an E part."
Right.
And
right.
it's not that. It's very different, and it's weird, but it's cool, and and it may be short, but they did definitely go back to it later in the show, so that was pretty rad too to hear
Yeah.
some of that in the bag jam.
I also think these bust outs are adding an element of interest and excitement to the fact that they do want to play a lot of songs. Like they
Yeah.
want to play, Trey wants to play a lot of songs right now, and they're jamming too. So I'm not like mad, but I definitely think it made for an exciting first set. I was watching on the couch, it was exciting. Um, and I think that that's helping a lot, when they're playing songs really well and also playing some songs that people don't expect to hear. It's exciting.
It is exciting.
What
RJ,
bust
which
out
of
would you
the
guys
oh
really like to hear?
In terms of bust outs,
Yeah, if there's like a random bust out that you would just
melt the
love.
guns. Melt the guns would
Guns.
be
Yeah.
it would be so fun. And
or
it was also
Leprechaun as Brian
Leprechaun?
in the
Mm,
Or
Paris
Lushington
post
as
stuff.
Mike Walsh.
mm. I
said
want
here, that
Eight
would be
Love
very,
Funny
very-
in my Mike's groove.
oh wow.
just like 8997.
Yeah, I love that.
So RJ, which of the 5 pre-21st century versions of Ficus did you see when you saw it a bunch of times?
I know I didn't see it a bunch of times actually.
Okay.
I think I
I
only
saw
it
one.
once. I think-
Yeah.
I think I only saw one in '98. But I thought I saw it a bunch, and then I looked at the stats and I was like, oh no, I was wrong.
Yeah, it's
I felt
probably.
I think I
Sometimes
heard it
Mike
a
songs
bunch.
feel like that.
But I think it's a full band credit, like to Jonathan's point. I think they maybe just and Tom's on there
Okay,
too. So
sorry.
I feel like it
Yeah.
was just no. It's just I think it is a a little bit of a. I mean, clearly Mike wrote whatever the words are because it's strange.
Yeah, but that said, I mean, I did see Sugar Shack 10 times that one time in Camden. So
But I mean, Ficus has been played.
I've seen 100 Drift While You're Sleepings.
that's a whole different other story.
Oh,
I do
okay.
just want to note, I'm just
Let's
looking
carry
at it.
on and talk about
just
how
want-
good this second set is.
I just think it's worth noting that Ficus was played 6 times, and including last night, and all 6 of those I would argue are great shows.
Hmm.
all in
So-
98. Yeah.
Ficus has a good batting average. So 7.298, amazing second set from the Gray Hall. 7.2998. I think that has a pretty good jam to open it. I'm not entirely sure.
Yep.
I don't remember.
Maybe.
8.198.
Well, Alpine.
One of the best tweezers ever.
Alpine.
8.898. Merriweather, that's a killer show with a killer piper, and the first ever
Was
Sweet
there.
Jane 2 months before they actually played the Velvet Underground's Loaded.
Ugh.
And then 11.798 from UIC Pavilion, which is an outstanding show with another outstanding second set. So who knows what it is? Ficus just, when they play it, they're just like, hey, this is going to be a good show.
It happens. But okay, so let's talk about the second set. Thank you, Brian. Not to cut you off, but I don't think I
Of
did.
course, RJ, whatever you need.
Speaking
Wait,
of things,
before
they
we go
play
to
that
second
indicate
set,
good
though,
shows.
we have to talk about this gin, the bathtub gin in first set.
Oh,
Bathtub Gin is
God.
very good.
Do we really? I'm just kidding.
It's
Go
really
ahead.
good
Yes.
one.
I would like to hear your thoughts.
It's so good. I mean, I won't bore you with too many of them, but this is a really fucking cool jam. I mean,
Yeah.
this section at like 9 minutes when Paige gets on the synth and there's that like eerie vibe and they're echoing each other, Mike just gets after it. It's just, I think this is a really good example around 12 minutes of like the way that they're doing Bliss this summer with that really intriguing stuff underneath. It's awesome. And Funk Jam and Wind Down Ending, this is a great version. I've listened to this a few times and definitely one of my favorite jams of the weekend.
Well, they come back to Gin around like 12 or 13 minutes, and then they keep it going. They just find another way to
so proud of you.
push on through. Yeah, that kind of like synthy undertone with melodic chalk dust or Camden chalk dusty type, trilling over the top.
I'm so into that. I'm so into that.
Here.
Wow. All right.
Sorry.
I think that was great. Thank you for that, Megan. It was really good. My note says this gin is sick, but it was at a rest stop. It was at a rest stop, so that's all I could do at the time. All right, second
one kid
set.
wanted pizza, one kid wanted burgers, other kid's got to go to the bathroom, and you're like
this gin. This is like totally.
Don't even
scribbled it on a toilet.
This is like during the school year when I'm like writing notes on my walk to school. I've got like my computer in one arm and I'm like walking down the steps trying to trip and I'm like writing notes on my phone.
Yeah,
I hear you.
It happens. Before we talk about the second set, can I bring our friend Scott Chasolen in for a second just to say hi?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. What's up, Scott?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, Scott.
How are you?
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
We are doing well. We're just discussing the Bethel run. Where are you right now?
I'm in Niagara Falls.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Nice.
Getting ready for a show tonight, from what I understand.
Yeah, I'm playing tonight outside. It's raining at the moment, so I'm kind of pacing around the dressing room area, hoping the rain stops.
That's awesome. Thanks for joining us, Scott. We have the first thing I want to mention and have you talk about a little bit is I've talked about this on basically every episode of HF Pod since March, but we have this awesome project going and you're part of it. It's called Reprise. We have 2 shows coming up in September, one in Asbury Park and Thursday the 5th of September in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and then Friday the 6th in Asbury Park. Scott, you play a lot of music in a lot of different groups. Can you just give us your take on like what about Reprise is exciting to you and kind of like how you're approaching it?
Oh, sure. I mean, the most exciting thing about Reprise is playing fish tunes.
Yes.
That's fair. That is fair. But playing them very well and playing them in ways that take a very, very long time to get right.
Yeah. We're taking on a big challenge by recreating entire shows. So we don't really get to pick which tunes we want to avoid. Sometimes the really difficult things pop up in the shows that we're doing, and it takes a while. Like I've been working on the middle section of Guerrilla Papyrus now for about 6 weeks. It's only 2 minutes long, but it's so difficult for keys. It's like a classical fugue, and it's really hard to decipher what page is playing. So I've just spent a lot of time trying to get it exactly right. Almost there.
Wow. That's the amount of work. And I know like for the shows that you guys played in June, there was days and days of practice before, and that doesn't count like what you guys did on your own. So I know that it seems like it's quite a lot of work to do it together, and there's so much work that goes in before that.
A lot of preparation for sure, but everybody's into it and everybody's super talented and pro. So it's been really fun, and I can't wait to do these 2 shows coming up in September. And we know what shows we're doing, but I'm not telling anyone yet.
Oh, come on, please.
There's nobody listening. Don't worry. You can just share it with us, just among friends.
Yeah, we won't tell.
We'll keep it quiet.
It's just us.
No, but Scott,
I'm breaking code by doing that.
Yeah. Scott, quick question for you here.
Sure.
Have loved hearing the Reprise shows. You guys do such. I mean, I think the thing that blows me away is not just the fact that you guys are nailing the songs, but you're also nailing the sound of the band at the time. And that it strikes me as a really difficult thing to do on the fly. I'm curious, as you guys are picking out what shows to play, are you cognizant of like your guys' strengths and what would work best for you? Or are you trying to challenge yourself? Like, what's the discussion as you lead up to picking a show that you want to try to tackle?
Well, I think we've learned a little bit along the way about taking on something that's just too difficult. When we did the Big Birch show, which is 7/13/94, there's a lot of hard songs. Yeah, it's ridiculous, and I think it was a little, I don't know, a little too much to take on. But I don't know. We've discussed, picking set lists where we can really stretch out and improvise in the way, the 97 shows are great for that, the funk stuff. And I think what works for this band is 3 of us were at a lot of shows during that era. Like me, myself, I started seeing Fish in 92. So
okay,
I've been to a lot of most of the shows that we have recreated, I was at. So I don't know. I feel like I was part of it. I understand it as a fan and a musician, both. So I don't know. Everybody just studies the shows and really listens to where the improv went and how it got there and who was leading the jams. And, there's a lot under the surface that we're paying attention to. So it's cool.
I love that.
Scott, is there anything about Paige's playing that you have been either surprised by or learned since you started this project? Understanding that you've been listening to the music for so long, is there anything that's kind of like anything that's surprised you?
Yeah, when I've really dissected Paige's parts, because when you listen to everything as a whole, you don't always know exactly what's going on beneath it all, because Trey's playing leads and Paige is usually supportive to that with some kind of harmonic idea or some kind of melody of his own, some contrapuntal thing. It's what he's doing on a lot of tunes is more involved than I thought it was. Maybe a little more difficult to, I don't know, just get a grasp on it. Like one of the hardest things so far that I had to learn was Split Open and Melt.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that was one of the hard ones that Fish had to learn too. It took him a while to get the hang of that.
Yeah, that's a pretty tough song.
The composition of the early material is what has really surprised me, is just how insane it is and how involved it is and how the modulations and the different twists and turns that things take. It's genius. It's insane. And I've been listening to it for decades, but learning how to play it and really getting inside of it is a completely different journey. And I have just a new respect for the composition and the ability to be able to play these songs night after night like they did in the 90s with such precision and really fast tempos and just crazy energy. And it's amazing. I have a new respect for them after really diving into this stuff.
Scott, we're gonna have you back on to talk about maybe one of your early Fish shows at some point, but I know you also give some new music coming out this when October.
I do, yeah. I have a new album dropping on October 4th, which is called Full Circle, and I've been putting out singles once a month for the past year. So the whole album will be dropping on October 4th. It's my original tunes with my band, which is Adam Minkoff on bass and Sean Dixon on drums. And I've been, writing music and releasing stuff for 25 years now. So this would be my 8th album or something like that. And it's kind of a mixture of singer-songwriter type style and a little bit of improv. I guess as far as influences go, people say they hear James Taylor in it, they hear Ben Folds in it, they hear Steely Dan in it, and those are kind of a strange recipe, but that's what I heard.
I love it.
Yeah, awesome. It sounds great.
That's fantastic. I know that some of those, like you said, there's a bunch of singles out on on Spotify and Apple, wherever people listen. So you guys should check out Scott's music. And Scott, so we have September shows. There's a couple other dates in the works for Reprise. I know you're on the road with The Machine and Beginnings and playing with Pink Talking Fish coming up, and you're basically playing all the time. So finding times when you and Cal and Adrian and Chris can all do the Reprise shows has been a challenge, but a fun one, because when you guys get to do it, it's such a fun thing. But I'm looking forward to the shows.
Yeah, man. We all are too. I mean, everybody is so busy with other projects that it definitely has been challenging to find times when we can all play. But when we do, we're super excited, and we hope people will come check us out, because we are, recreating entire shows from back in the day, and it's really fun. And I don't know, those guys are all great, and it's an honor to play with them. It makes me a better musician,
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for joining us. I know you have. It sounds like there's drumming happening and maybe some other music out there. So we won't keep you. But I hope the rain stops, because I hope people get to hear you guys play tonight.
I hope so too. Were you guys talking about Bethel when I joined you?
Yeah, we were just talking about the last night set 2. Have you been able to listen back?
I haven't been able to hear last night, but I was there for Saturday night.
Oh, nice.
And
what'd you think?
You thought
I thought, as far as overall show goes, I loved the set list. I thought it was a great set list, and I've seen Fish 220 times or something like that. My first way.
Oh wow!
No way. That's awesome.
That's cool.
Oh, I love that.
And that's the best reaction, right? No way.
Yeah, no way. That is fantastic.
See,
I'm glad you were able to make
Scouts
it.
are good, RJ. See,
I know. That's crazy though. That's a lot of shows for lack of way.
I know.
Lack of way. It is crazy though.
And so
I was looking at it. I was looking at the stats of it just while you're here, Scott. Only been played 46 times total. And we're talking like there was a big 202 show gap from 8/2/98 to 12/30 2003. I somehow caught it 3 times in a row. I have no idea.
Wow.
Never caught some of the songs I'm chasing, but like, hey, just keep giving me way. So I'm glad to hear that you were able to finally catch it. That's awesome.
Man, thanks. That's great. You got 3 in a row too.
We were talking about bizarre Mike Gordon songs.
Yeah. I feel like this song was played a lot in the 90s, but apparently it wasn't. It just felt that way, maybe.
Yeah.
No, I never really played it that much. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
When the Ficus bust out, I actually was at Merriweather in '98 when they played Ficus. Yeah. That was, I guess they really haven't played it since '98.
Yeah. 800 shows bust out. Wild.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. But as far as the show, I thought some of the jamming was really good. I liked the Wilson disease to open the second set. That was really cool. And then like the 9th inning ghost at the end of the second set was pretty cool. I never expected that to be in that spot, And the Tweezer reprise to bring it back to the first night, it's just good shit. Good stuff.
Shit is good.
We swear all the time on here. I have a terrible mouth. Fine. Terrible language.
Mostly us yelling at each other. That's what happens. Scott, sorry. One last question. What do you hear improv wise from them this year? Having been a longtime fan, we talk a lot on the show about just like the evolution of the improv and how they're changing and really evolving as they get older and play together longer. Is there anything from Saturday that stuck out to you in terms of like how they jam or how they approach improv?
I think they approach it. I saw 3 shows on this tour so far, and I saw 1 Sphere show. So that's, 4 shows this year. I think they're approaching their improv from more of a thematic approach where they're all playing as a unit. I hear things developing and then they're modulating together into different keys, which is kind of, most bands don't do that together spontaneously. Right. They really move as a unit through the jamming, and that's really the biggest thing. I think that's changed about how they play now versus, maybe back in the old days when it was more of Trey being the leader. Now everybody's kind of taken the leash at some point, and it's more of a group effort, a team effort.
Yeah, I definitely hear that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you. Will you come back and join us for maybe we can talk about your first show at some point?
My first show? Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, anytime.
That'd be super fun.
or one of the early ones anyway. We don't get to talk about a lot of early 90s stuff with guests, so we need to do that.
Anytime.
We'll let you pick.
Talk endlessly about it.
Awesome.
I mean, those shows changed my life for sure. So
Nice.
Oh, that's the stuff we want to hear. Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Scott, thanks for joining, man. And we'll put a link in the show notes to your website, which I know has a link to, of course, the Reprise stuff, but also all your new music. So thanks, and come back and join us again soon.
Yeah, thanks,
great,
Scott.
guys. Thanks for having me.
Have a
I'll
great
see you
show
in Park
tonight.
City.
Yeah, man.
Okay, great. Yeah, hope to see you all there.
Yeah, can't wait.
See you, man. Bye.
Sweet. Peace.
Bye. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us, Scott. That was really awesome.
Can I just ask RJ? Are they going to play 725.99? Because that would be a really cool show for them to play. It would also be a really cool show for Kevin Shapiro to release. But I'm just throwing it out there.
Nice, Brian. Nice.
Yeah, really good.
There.
All I'm saying about 725.99 is that I think that Scott and the team are not going to want to play it until their first Deer Creek show. So we'll wait till they play Deer Creek, and then that could be
fair point.
That could be the show.
Okay. Yeah.
Or until Kevin Shapiro decides to release it. Well, one or the other.
Yeah, exactly. All right. We got to talk about quickly before we wrap up. We got to talk about this AC/DC bag. This is another huge piece of music from this weekend. I don't know who wants to start. Go for it.
This is my favorite jam of the weekend. It blew me away in the moment. It's the fourth longest AC/DC bag of all time. The only ones above it, just listen to this list: the Boise bag, Hampton 97, 1230 97.
Yep.
This is the fourth one in that list. Like,
that is something.
Yeah, like it starts off really pretty and effervescent, and then it just becomes like this super driving dark rock jam. But kind of like what Scott was saying, what's interesting about this jam is that it really feels like everyone's moving together, and there's so much flow between the sections. It's totally seamless. And I think that there's 4 jam charted versions last year. There's the version from 12/31/23, which is, something we'll all never forget. And then they opened the show at Mohegan with it, but I'd much rather get it in this spot, like this huge jam in second set. Just unbelievable. It really blew me away, and it's super interesting and something I want to keep going back to.
Jonathan, did the Gamehenge AC/DC bag open the door to this coming back as a jam vehicle, or does that have nothing to do with it?
Yeah, I'm gonna say no. Because I don't think that I think there are very few things that really trigger what happens 3 months later.
Yeah.
I think that you can look short term and say Billy Strings jamming inspired the Almondsy sounds of the following run, but no, I think it's just that the door was always open. Whether or not they chose to walk through is really the question. I think it's a great version, though. I did really enjoy listening to this jam today. Got through it a couple times. I also think that the whole set is perfect. I do not have a rule about what happens when Buried Alive opens the second set, because it pretty much doesn't happen.
Right.
But I think I may have one now because this worked out quite well for all of us. I think that Fuego's got a good little jam in it. Golden Age is pretty cool into the absolute perfect single version of Simple, like the 4.5-minute version of Simple. It's just beautiful. It's all you ever need, and it's not after a Mike's groove or in the middle of a Mike's groove. Great life-saving gun. Harry Hood gets a little weird.
Yeah,
it's all a win.
It's a really great set. Brian, tell us about your thoughts on that jam and the set.
Well, I don't agree that the Gamehenge version opened the door, because the door was already opened on 7/20/2022 at the Man Music Theater when they played it in the second set and jammed it out. And then again, 10 days later at MPP on 7/31/2022.
I was at both those shows.
You were at both those shows. And then Berkeley, California, we got an almost 14-minute version. And then the MSG run last summer, we got a nice 12-minute version. And then Dick's last year, we got a 12-minute version. And then we got the MSG version. So it's been building for a while. This happens with songs. They come back and they slowly start to percolate up, and then boom, it's over the top. We're awash in jamming. And so I think that this is a part of, they've definitely felt what they have not felt with David Bowie. Sorry. They have felt with AC/DC Bag over the last year, where you hear kind of building blocks, and we don't want to get too far away. But we're stretching out a little bit, and here we got the version that was kind of perfectly placed, like Jonathan says, coming out of Buried Alive. Only the second time, I gotta check this really quickly because a friend of mine texted me this before I say this live on air. I gotta just double check this.
That's not how this works. You know that. You just say.
I'm checking it right now. So this is only the. So, hear me out. This is the first second set opening Buried Alive since 11/27/1998. And aside from this, only 2 other times did it appear in the second set, in the 3.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0 era. 7/15/2003, in the middle of that crazy second set, coming out of a 30-minute Mr. Completely, Big Black Furry Creature from Mars, Buried Alive. Everything was played in that second set. It was played as a reprise to cap off an amazing tour opener on 6/7/2012, a show that I would argue saved Fish, but that's for a different conversation. And then tonight it opened last night it opened the second set. So very, very rare thing, crazy spot. And then you go into AC/DC Bag. This is a very classic pairing from early on in Fish's career, but early on in Fish's career, AC/DC Bag was a 7-minute song, kind of like Chalk Dust. Now here we are deep in second set. Great 3-night run, amazing tour. Anything's possible. As Kevin Garnett would say, anything is possible. And it really is. Like, we are just in an amazing spot right now with this band.
Hell yeah.
While I would say, like, I felt like the first 8 to 10 minutes of this jam were kind of that just celebratory, oh my God, they're jamming out Bag. Once you got past like 12 minutes, Trey and Paige and Mike hook up. Fishman starts doing whatever the hell he's doing. I have no idea how the man is actually holding down a beat while he's hitting the same tom with 2 different sticks and then moving on to the next one. And then he's going to the cymbals and he's all over the place. And like, my dad sat on the couch going, man, that guy in the dress could sure drum. Just amazing, amazing stuff. Great ending to this jam. I thought it was one of the stronger jams of the tour, and a tour that has a lot of really, really strong jams. So what the hell are we going to do? I don't know what to do with this band right now.
We're going to blow Mondegreen up is what we're going to do. It's so fucking sick.
Brian, you called the pairing of Buried Alive and Bag a classic pairing, but you know they didn't do that until 2013. They've done it like 6 times.
Are you serious? Come on,
not until 2013.
I definitely win.
So I know why you might say that.
You would think it would be, but you're right.
Yeah.
I think it's
like 1991.
It's amazing how many times it went into Poor Heart, though. So.
Well, now that we have seen what they like to call an instant classic, now it can be. You know.
There you go.
I saw the
stand corrected.
I saw 3 jam charted AC/DC bags, the back-to-back
7,
Coventry.
6. Sorry, go on.
Coventry, then Philly 2022. Those are the two jam charted AC/DC bags between 2004 and 2022. And I was at that one. So I feel like I can't believe that it took 18 years for it to come back and be jammed. But now it's here again.
One of the legends of Coventry was that AC/DC Bag, because it's one of the best jams of the weekend, one of the best jams of the year, one of the best jams I think they've ever played. Say what you will about Coventry, and we have a lot that we could say. It's the 20th anniversary this weekend.
Actually, if you want to read a lot about it, you should get the new episode of Surrender to Flow.
There we go. Look at that.
Because
I wrote all about it.
There is an article by Mr. Brian Brinkman in that about 20 years later of Coventry.
I can't believe you tied that in. Look at that. That's beautiful.
And my dog was barking the whole time, and I was like, "Fuck, how can I get?"
Yeah, you're just doing it. Just doing it. All right. Well, I mean, I think that there's about 13 minutes of the AC/DC Bag. There's this like spacey, raging soloing from Trey that's just incredible, and I want to go back and listen to that again as soon as possible. Jonathan, we've reached the end of the tour. You know, before the festival. What's your I don't want to say expectation because that's going to be bad.
No, I'm not going to answer that question.
What
That's gonna send us down a really bad.
where do you what do you think you're gonna see this weekend? This four shows in Delaware.
I
Is
think
it gonna be a what do you
I
how
think
do you
the
see it?
fish is feeling good and having fun. I think that the door is off the hinges. I think that anything is possible, as Brian and Kevin Garnett are wont to say. I think that the
Yes, Jonathan with the sports reference.
just about only he just said it.
No, we have to
Don't credit
celebrate
me at
these
all.
moments.
Are you
I
saying
think
that
that
Fish is going to hit a home run?
virtually
Whoa.
anything is on the table, and including stuff from last night by the end of the weekend could happen. I think that Fish listens to the podcast and knows that 46 Days is RJ's favorite song.
Oh my god.
And
Love it.
I think
Love
they're going
it.
to play a really big version of it. I think that even though they played it last night, it's coming back. It's going to be Sunday night, maybe Saturday night, Mondegreen. It's going to be a like an epic it version of it,
Wow. Let's go.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I don't know, or absolutely none of that. I think actually nothing song specific that I have said is probably accurate, but I think the band is playing really well. It's going to be a lot of fun, and Meg, I'm a little jealous. Other than dealing with sleeping and logistics of festivals, the music's going to be amazing. You're going to have a great time.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited.
Yeah. Megan, what as you're getting ready for continuing to go to concerts, unlike the other rest of us here, what are you thinking about in terms of the festival?
First of all, I just want to make something right. Okay, after this Mondegreen run, I will have seen the same amount of shows as Brian Brinkman will have after Dick's. So no one judge me on my concert going.
No,
right?
no one should.
8
Not
shows.
at all.
This 8 Fish shows. So I'm not out there on tour despite appearances. But yeah, no, I'm
And
excited.
you didn't even have to go through customs.
Exactly. Although I would gladly go through customs to go to Fish Mexico again. That is the fucking spot right
Quite
there.
amazing.
It's real fun.
Yeah.
Whew.
No, I was thinking about this. So I was looking, and they're closing in on like 200 songs they've played this year already. So there's a lot to choose from, and I think they're going to continue to push that number at the festival. And as we talked about last week, I'm all about pushing the numbers. Still don't really know what that means, but Brian told me that was a cool thing to say.
Pushing
So
them numbers.
I hope they push the
Push the
numbers
numbers.
and continue to bust out some cool shit. And I don't know how they're going to tie in, the theme of the concert, the festival, if that's going to be something. But I'm just going in like, when you feel like you've done Fish shows so many times, but I've never done a festival. So it's making me feel really young again because it's going to be something totally new for me. So if you see me out there, give me some tips. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm very excited. I think Fish is in an unbelievable spot. This tour has been super inspiring for me. And, sometimes you listen to all these shows for the recaps, and sometimes it feels a little bit like work. And this tour has not felt like that at all. I have just been like, fuck yes, let's play this show. I want to hear that again. I listen to all the shows always for these recaps, but then when I go back and listen to the highlights, there's been a lot more to listen to this tour, which has just been thrilling. And yeah, I think we're in an unbelievable spot, and I'm so excited to go to the festival. So if you see me, come say hi, get some HF Pod stickers, and have a great time out there, everybody.
My highlight playlist is so long for this tour.
Right?
It's crazy. This is not not a bad thing.
No.
I just want to say, Brian, before we give you the last opportunity to weigh in, that I'll just do it because I enjoy doing this I do this for the people. I do this for our listeners, for the fans. I just want to say that as of the first show of Mondegreen on Thursday, David Bowie will not have been played for 19 days in the course of this on an active tour. There has not been a jam charted version of David Bowie since
Why?
the David
Don't bring
Bowie
it
from
up.
Alpine. Because this is what you just said they listened to the
No.
podcast, Jonathan. Now you gotta let me
Yes,
do the
yes.
thing that makes them jam David Bowie again.
No, they're not doing it because
Do the
we've been
thing,
talking
RJ.
about it.
It's a troll.
There was going to be a monster David Bowie at Mondegreen. That's all I'm saying.
Fuck yes, let's
That's all I'm
go.
saying.
It's amazing. I'm here
That's
for
all I'm
that.
saying.
I'm very here for that.
Brian, what do you
And
got?
it's on tape.
I mean, so the last time we actually did this, where the festival happened, Fish was in a very different place. The war was in a very different place. I always think of Magnaball as kind of this. It was almost like a demarcation line. Like it was an example of everything that they had worked hard to bring back and to achieve when they came back in 2009. And then it also kind of previewed where a lot of things were going, intentionally or not. Like that's how I hear back that run, and I hear the next few years of 3.0. Clearly something happened that unlocked jamming and improvisation in a very deep and meaningful way. They're not really in that place now. Like they don't have anything to prove at this point in time. And it kind of gets back to what I was saying about, like, I feel like there's less work to be done on this tour. They've figured out what it sounds like, the tech side. Mike Gordon is playing out of his mind. Trey Anastasio is playing out of his mind. There were some moments last night where, like, the creativity, the extra notes, the extra ideas he was adding into compositional pieces and into improvisational moments were really stunning to just watch and behold. Like, they're playing at a very high level. They hit this peak at Sphere in terms of, like, visual, artistic. I had no idea what to expect. I just know that they're jamming incredibly well. They're busting out songs. Are they playing 2 or 3 songs too many a night? Yeah, Trey, cool it. Okay. No, I'm joking. But, like, they have the ability to bounce between
But they
11. But you are. Come on. A 4-minute simple. They have the ability to bounce in back and forth between song heavy sets that are played very, very well, have some cool improvisation, have some bust outs, and 4-song, 5-song second sets that go very deep and have hours of music that you want to re-listen to. That's where the band's at right now, and that's kind of what I would expect to get from this festival, plus the, like, added bonus of it's a festival. They rise to the occasion. There's something to this that feels the way I guess the only thing I can relate it to is Magnaball and It, where it felt like they were really going towards something and really going to achieve something, and they were really pushing towards this big event at the end of the summer. I will say I was on record after 2015 saying this is the one year that Dick's probably shouldn't happen. I'm going to eat those words this summer because I really want to hear a bit of this Fish in person, in the flesh. But I hope that Mondegreen is played to the level of what Magnaball was in 2015, where it just feels like the peak of everything Fish had been working towards and the future, and who knows, we'll see. It's awesome. And Matt, I definitely feel that. I definitely feel that vibe. Yeah, that was a hopeful moment, and I feel that as well.
Hope, it's a good feeling.
It's really great. I mean, people are gonna have fun at this Fish festival no matter what. But I agree with everything you're saying, Brian. I think this is it's a good time to be a fan, and I'm excited for everyone who gets to go. But for the rest of us, I feel a little sad. But I think we'll still have fun listening to it.
Don't mourn for me.
We get to talk about it, RJ.
I can't wait to watch my couch.
Yeah,
gonna order some sushi one night. Gonna grill one night. Maybe order some pizza another night. Lots of Topo Chicos are going to be consumed.
Brian, I was in the store thinking about you today. It was at the store buying some stuff for my hotel room. Could not find plain Topo Chicos fucking anywhere. No limes. Always just weird flavors like hibiscus and, like, I don't want that.
Oh, don't touch that one.
I want the, like, lime or plain. Nothing.
Yeah,
the grapefruit one is good. I will say.
Is
but
it?
The
I
twist
didn't
of
have. They
lime is
didn't
my
have
jam.
that.
Yeah,
It was
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
All right. Well, Topo Chico, if you want to come on and be a sponsor, you're welcome. But we'll only talk about certain flavors. So
Yeah, sorry about what I said about hibiscus, but it's true.
We don't like lots of songs or lots of flavors. Okay,
Yeah,
It's just very simple over here.
God. Speaking of flavors, you guys brought some amazing flavor to this podcast today. Thank you so much, Jonathan, Megan, and Brian. See you guys after Monday.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Peace
y'all.
out, guys.